This is your daily market recap for Thursday, July 21st, 2022. Let's go. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market recap for Thursday, July 21st, 2022. Let's get into it. Hopefully you're having a great week. You've been following. You are not shorting heavily or trying to pick the top with any sort of luck, because what have we said? Do not short the trend. The trend is the friend. Every person who keeps shorting is just getting murdered. On that note, however, if you have been long, I have recommended highly, please take your profits. Take your profits before they get taken. You never know what could happen overnight. You never know what could happen in general. Keep in mind, retail is now starting to get what? Bullish. When we started getting bullish back in the 360s and 70s on the SPY, talking about SMH under 195 again, we can reminisce about that later in the charts. But my biggest warning to folks who are newer to trading, please keep in mind, the market is meant to take your money. As soon as you start feeling comfortable and you're newer, it's probably a problem. You can almost actually set your timer to following these types of folks because they consistently lose. You know, they might win here and there, but typically the market literally leads them into their own problems. I always tell this to people. The market will not steal your money. It just makes you do the wrong things right before the trends change, things change. Again, on that note, if you are newer to the channel, link is in the description below for the Discord room in this video. If you have questions, you know where to find me. Again, I really tailor this channel to people who are, I would say, been in trading for, 1 to 3 years, have a decent basis for what's going on, just need to get that edge. They need somebody to help them take them to the next level because, again, ultimately in trading, it's a probability game. The market doesn't care what you and I think. We're trying to do what the market's doing, and I said it in the previous video. Do what the market is doing. Do what the market is doing. And people who have been short, we told them, you got to be careful. This is a bear market rally. Don't short. Don't have a big short book. Again, if you want to layer into shorts as of today, again, I took profits on all of my longs. People are like, you're crazy. And they're like, well, what if it goes higher? And I'm like, great, good. I like to sell when it's easy. I don't like to sell on the backdraft because if you have options as well, you're not going to get the best pricing at this point. Anyway, and keep in mind, if you're putting stops, rolling up stops, this is a bear market. They're going to get hit at some point. So take your money versus just roll your stops up and get them knocked out. It's just pretty simple. Bitcoin, the news overnight about Elon, this is kind of interesting to me because he sold 3/4 of Tesla's holdings. I'm a little indecisive on what I think of this for Bitcoin because I don't like the candle formation, that's for sure, because it looks like a what? Doji top. Remember? Doji top here. Tight action top. You want to see this thing continue. But Doji means what? Does it mean it's collapsing? No. It just means indecision. You need to see the next couple candles to confirm it. See Doji's up here, right? That's my biggest concern. Tight Dojis at highs could turn into reversals. So at this point, if you are long Bitcoin, I've said it every video, please know your stops. Because if this thing goes back to the bottom and you stop out and you rebuy, great. And if it actually goes into much lower prices, you're screwed. Again, this is a probability game. I'm pretty smart, been doing this a long time, and I am still humble to the fact that I can lose. Because again, you can win 10 times in a row, and then you turn your 11th trade into a monster loser, and you're wrong. There goes your month. There goes your week. There goes your day, whatever, your quarter. Oil. Talked about the potential for a short coming into the trend line. Again, it's amazing to me. People don't see this as a double top. Again, think about who's long oil, retail. Think about who's trying to fight oil prices, everybody. There's every reason for it to drop in time because of demand destruction. Now, again, people will start going, there's a supply issue. Yeah, it's not going negative like it once did in the oil futures back in COVID. No, it's probably going to 65, 75? Now, you're in the 90s. That seems very logical. That wouldn't be an end of the oil market. But we'll get into that stuff a little later. Oh, TLT. You are the only position I still have left. And guess what? It held up well. And again, this is what I'm watching for. Head and shoulders, we talked about the blowout, why we got in it in the first place. We're like, this area down here is going to hold because it is major support resistance. You can see it here. You can see once it blew through it, came back up, back tested it there, held here, rejected here, rejected there. So you see, again, support equals resistance. Now, people are like, oh, well, don't you draw a line? Well, notice how on the monthly, I draw a box. Because the market's not rational. Like, the TLT is not going to stop on the price that I think it is. I mean, how many times have you gotten lucky picking the top or bottom, the exact price, and then sat there and thought to yourself, well, I'm really good at this. I can do this again. No, you're not good at this. I'm not. No, hell no. We're luck. If we catch the top and the bottom, it's pure luck. It's not skill, folks. Don't even talk to me about that, because that's just lying to yourself. We started getting in down here. Told people you could add on the backdraft. We talked about adding on this backdraft. Talked about this backup. You're making higher lows. Let's see if we can break out, because what I would say, let's go like zoom into, like I say, a 120 chart. It's a little messy. That was an old channel, but we'll remove it just for the sake of trading or this video. You clearly see there's higher lows. I mean, I think the best way to connect them might be like this. Yeah, that's what I thought. Since July, you've got coming off the bottom. Here's the left shoulder. There's the head. Here's the right shoulder. I mean, you can see the shoulder line, right? See that? Pretty cool. I would just watch. It looks like there's a little bit of a, we're right or compressing under the breakout. And now if the TLT breaks out, that's why I'm kind of, people are like, why are you shorting today? And it's like, I literally did the smallest possible short just because I sold some stocks, and I'm looking at the action going, man, this feels so stupid bullish now, because again, now the SPY is rising, and again, it could still go higher. We'll talk about how it usually tops. I think it could pull back to the breakout 390 through whatever 3900, and it wouldn't be a problem. Bullish or bearish, it's just near term. The narrative is changing. CNBC is now rationalizing, bringing on people. Just, again, if you ever watch CNBC and you realize, like, who the hell are these folks? That they'll come on when they need a bull, they'll pull some guy out and goes, I see this factor and blah, 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 blah. Now it's going higher. And I think this when it's bearish. It's a bunch of bullshit, bunch of idiots. But you can see, this would be the first target, somewhere up here in the 119. I could see it even getting up here to 125. Just look at the monthly chart too. Whenever in doubt, where's the most muscle memory? You can see it. It's in this, here's this big VAP zone. Let me just pull this across. You can see it somewhere right in there, I'd say. You can see it. Stop. Here's where like the vacuum ends. So to blow these people out and go higher, it would probably need a base first. But anyway, that's, again, the trade is what it is. Roll your stops up. Please do not give this back. If something happens, do yourself a favor. Be safe. The dollar, what did we say? You're going into the upper channel bounds. Here you go on the monthly. Again, whenever you're in doubt, you're starting to trade, please do not zoom into the 5-minute chart. Start on the monthly, go to the weekly, go to the daily. Monthly, here you go, up into the clouds. Of course, there's going to be sellers. It has muscle memory. It's like, I think it was euro parity. There's other currency pairs. Now what? It seems like it's going to what? Probably, I think worst case 28s. We'll see. Again, I keep telling people, long term, the end of the dollar is not a breakdown first. It's a blow up first. It's a going up, parabolic blowout. Then it goes to the lows. The VIX, people are talking about buying the UVXY. I don't think you have a lot of juice. I would wait for the lower end of the range. And if you miss it, you miss it. But the UVXY is such a dangerous product for retail because they don't know how to trade it. It decays like crap. It's probably the biggest, I mean, honestly, the brokers know, like, that is the easiest way to, like, get traders to lose is print a fearful article, pump the UVXY in the morning, and then let it just melt the rest of the day. That's how the UVXY works, basically, essentially. So, anyway, what do you think now? I mean, look at you get these pops. It's probably due. 20-day. Is now your resistance. So let me write that down because again, I think that could probably be if the VIX got up to what, 26 plus. that to me would bring probably the SPY back to what? 390, 389. Then from there, keep in mind the Feds are meeting next week, and now the stories of what they're going to do are just dangling in the ether for bulls to just find now. They weren't buying down here, and we said repeating formation, double bottom. Oh, but the colors are green, this is red. It doesn't matter. It's the same formation, basically a blowout and a lower double tap, or a higher double tap. Now we're up. I drew this chart on my charts. Let me clean this up just a tad. Nah, freak it. Let's keep it dirty. We noticed something here. What was it? This one? No, it was, oh, sorry. Let me, again, draw it on the fly. I don't trade on this computer. There we go. Something like that. Let me smooth out the trajectory. Oh God, I got too much stuff here. Over trading, over too much crap alert. Whatever. There was a, you had this gap, you had the top of that. It looked like there was some room to fail. I apologize. I can't draw this chart right now. I don't really want to without zooming in and spending much time, but it looked like the upper bound. Man, how do I, come on, give it to me. You can see it relates to that. There you go. I did it. All right. Let me open it up. You can see it was the top there. It's basically the gap there. I think, I can't remember what candle I pulled it to, but just for sake of being, like, there it is. This is me just trying to draw and see what happens. Again, I think near term, just keep this in mind. This is what always worries me, is that if you don't get some pullback, you're going to get a bigger pullback, if that makes sense, because you need to build and base and build and base. Because if this is not, what would we say about tops? Gap, trap, novice gap, trap, novice gap, double top, double novice gap, fail. How do you know what a top looks like? Novice gap, close there, gapped up, close lower. All right, you seeing this thing? How you see how novice gaps? I don't think the trend, here you go, novice gap. I honestly don't think we're done going down unless, what, we talked about China. The China news is actually legitimately an issue, because if they're not paying, their folks aren't paying their mortgages, run on banks, they're putting tanks in front of banks to try to keep people from taking money out. We saw this in August of 2008, and if you're not, or 2016, this was one of probably my best trades ever, and it was pure luck. I was short going into the same kind of crap. China property issues. Where is it? Oh, August of 2015. 15, yeah, 15. Sorry, the dates melt in my head. If you actually saw this action, you saw it turning over, and then it just went 211 down to 183. Let me pull it up on the daily, because maybe you can see what it looked like. It was a pretty wild day. When people talk about wild days, like they think these markets are crazy, I'm like, man, you don't even know what you're missing out on. Some of the fun from the past. The market gets super silly a lot of the time. Let's get back in it. Where were we? Oh, here we go. Oh, man. Look at this. I mean, I know it doesn't really seem like a lot now because the SPY moves 30 handles in days. This thing was hilarious. Like, you had like this head and shoulders top here. Look at that. Novice gap, and then kaboom, which again, if you do the math, 20 points is 10%, right? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong chart. What was it, July? Oh man, what year is this? Dude, man, I'm getting old. Fuck. Where was it? What? I just lost my whole train of thought. It must have been that then. It was August. Oh, what? That's 2017. Yeah. It was, oh, thank you. Jesus Christ. I'm like, man, I am losing my shit. Sorry to curse. No, here it was. It was like 4 days of just absolute carnage. And I remember being short and then going long, and then it came back and went long again. And you had the reference, literally the close. It was, markets are so technical. People don't realize it. I apologize for that whole last minute. Delete it out of your life. That was me showing my age. Yeah, you just got this, and it was on the China property stuff. It was August of, yes, thank you, 2015. Unbelievable. I think I was short Netflix and it dropped like 100 points or something crazy. It was awesome. And this is when Netflix was like in the $200-300 range. But anyway, let's go back to now. So why is that an issue? Well, what have we said? Like, if you always got to be kind of anticipating. And I always tell this to people, like, the market does a really good job of ignoring bad news until it matters, right? You see that a lot. We saw it with COVID. I mean, keep in mind, here, let's just go back to another example. People, I remember this, we were shorting in February, and then it kind of ran up even higher, and people were like, dude, COVID's gonna be up. I'm like, no, go look at the actual satellite imagery of the Chinese airways. Literally, like all of a sudden the smoke cleared. The smoke cleared. That was crazy because they were turning off their factories. Like, they were telling you they were going full red alert. So what? So what? And then it went this. Now, keep in mind, do we know now for a fact that what I just talked about with China is the problem? Yes. How bad is it going to be? We don't know. We don't know if they're playing, how that's going to play out. And again, just keep that in the back of your mind. Because those are the things I think. I hate when people like the CPI and this and that. That's all rear looking. The market hates unknowns. The market loves the knowns. It knows inflation's high, hence why it's rising. But it also knows inflation peaked. Another story. Just keep that in mind. I mean, at this point, I've said I think you can go higher. I think you broke this trend line. Could you come into this trend line? You come into this trend line. It's all possible. Again, it probably could go up there later in the summer. It just really depends on how China plays out. Just keep in mind, I mean, I anticipate the job numbers are getting worse, but you're not going to see that until probably the September data. So you run that out to like here. Could it happen? Absolutely. Could it be this, I mean, slow? I don't think of like how it would look. It'd probably be a double, you know, it'd be this chop fest. Like here, I know this is not going to be the best way to explain it, but it'll probably be like this. That, you know what I mean, like just a rally of crappiness, and then katong. That's how it would look. When I say rally of crappiness, it wouldn't be like a smooth uptrend. That's my point. That's the only way. I don't think you're getting that kind of bear market rally. It'd be like this kind of thing with the consolidation and up, and the and again, unless again China. If you know that, yeah, that's the big here. Because as of right now, we know the Feds are doing what? They're going to do 75 basis points, and then after that, they're hiking. But then look at the TLT, right? This is why I like bonds, and it's showing me, like, inflation peaked, guys, gals. Keep that in mind. Let's go back to it. TLT goes lower. What does that mean? Rates are going higher. Well, what have you noticed? Rates are going lower. Deflation, right? Keep that in mind. SPY. So, I mean, again, we have to talk about all the possibilities here, again, because most nights we don't, because there's not a lot to talk about. But those new headlines, seeing the pictures, seeing what's going on, reminds me of the past. And when I see something from the past, it triggers a memory that I have to be aware of. QQQ, we talked about it, getting over the 50-day. I remember people were shorting this thing. We're like, that's a gap and go. 3 days, not bad. Now you're coming into resistance here. I still think you can get to the 100-day. Anything's possible. Okay? Just be smart. Please be smart. If you're not taking profits when it's easy, keep in mind, a couple days and boom. That's how this works. Couple days, and see, worst case scenario, if you're a bull, this is what you get. Couple days, and here you go. Here's your chop in front of the Feds, right? This wasn't a chop before the Feds, but this is what I'm talking about. Here's your chop potentially into the Feds. And then go higher. Maybe. Just keep this in mind. This is a bear market. It's a trader's market. Now what? Literally the same thing that you saw on the SPY. Some sort of, maybe I just connect these and you can see it. We're at like whatever you want to consider this. I don't know. I love when people just go, well, I'm holding 100%. Okay, well, think about the odds now. The odds of higher without a break, you know, this is, again, even when you go down, you have breaks. You have breaks, possibly, you know, you don't go up all the way, always. This is an anomaly, bear market rally. I don't think that's happening because look at this point. I could be wrong. I think things are just slightly different. It's the summer. It's not March. It's not coming off the March low. Everybody knows in the spring low, there's a huge rally. There's not a huge rally in July. There's usually like, again, if you look at the Stock Traders Almanac, it says, beware of the summer rally hope. Historically, the weakest rally of all seasons. It's in the Stock Traders Almanac, okay? I promise you, it's there. Now what, I would just be happy you're winning, take some profits, okay? IWM, this thing was lagging all day and then picked up at the end of the day, which is, it's a good sign. Now what? Again, you get a couple days of up, expect some chop. Couple days of up, expect some chop. I mean, this thing just went from 168 up to 182. All is not right in the world. All is not right. But it doesn't necessarily mean it can't go higher. So this is, again, it's probabilities, right? We are now at the point where, this is the reason why I took all of my profits in the market, because I don't care. I made amazing. I mean, I literally could stop the rest of the year. A lot of people we talk about, like in our room, they could. Well, if it pulls back, then we can identify it. And if it keeps running higher, great. You have to remember, you as a trader, as a investor, whatever you want to call it, your goal is to run this like a business. When the probabilities start looking weaker and weaker to go in your favor, you need to act on it. By either you're saying you're not going to act, meaning like say you're a long-term investor in a bull market, that's fine. This is in a bull market. But in a trading market, bear market, you better be on top of it. That's all I got to say. And at this point, multiple days up probably needs a rest. And people are talking about buying the UVXY. No. You don't have the confirmation to go short. Gold. Aha! After hours, 1680 took you down to like the 156, 157 range in the GLD. Nice candle here. Now again, how high? People are like, oh, are you going to buy it? No. I like it. I mean, I like it for a bounce. I think this is a big cup and handle, and it's going to be a choppy handle. I mean, it reminds me of coming out of the bear market of the 2003. Like, you just had like this like choppiness, and then the feds do, and then the market go. Yeah, we'll see. Trade it. Good luck. Silver. I'm going to try to wrap through these quick. We talked about how silver usually precedes bigger gold moves, right? Well, this was not retesting the low. That was bullish. GDX. Same thing. We said we had a doji here on above average volume, and you were back testing. Seems okay. Just have a stop, please. Just don't sit here and go, well, Guru Pitka on Twitter, who has 15,000 followers, who's been saying buy gold and silver miners for 3 months, who just isn't ever right, but bullish all day, rationalizing that, hey, 2 years from now, we're going to be rich. No, sorry, Guru Pitka. Wrong. Let's talk about why. Again, I always say this. The best time to buy the miners is after a bear market. Boom. Smash. 2020 was a bear market, I guess, essentially rally, a bear market within a bull market. Here, GDX again. Let's pull up the monthly. If this is a bear market, which we all agree on, look at the best time to buy. It was in October of 2008. Remember, the bear market didn't end until March, but the first capitulation, and the Feds said, what? We're going to start cutting. That was the time, because then look what happened. Weehee. Everything in between this has been a lot of crap. You don't want a lot of crap. You want to watch for the blowout. Just keep that in mind. So GDXJ, same thing. I mean, I think it rallies up into like, what, 30, 35, 37? Great. If you got the JNUG, right? Isn't JNUG the 3X? Well, I don't know. Nugget and JNUG. Yep. Yeah. Trade it. Feel free. AG. This sucks because on a day like today, it should be up. It held, it's not below the lows, but it just looks like crap. AEM, I was looking at this one earlier. What is going on? Tight action, small candle. I'm telling you, it looks like the miners are going to pop, but this is the hardest part, is the market going to continue? That's the hardest part, because that's the thing about the miners, is people don't realize, like, they're like, oh, they're hedges. No, they need stable markets, because if not, people don't buy the miners. Miners can't borrow money if there's a liquidity crisis, and they've got they're like any other business. In a bear market, they're going to have problems. You're making higher lows. That looks like a higher high. Looks bullish to me. NFGC, again, I talked about this one. I'd like this long term. I think it is a Sprout special. Eric Sprout, I will buy it in the 3s. And if I won't, it'll back up. I'll get it somewhere else. PAAS. Yeah, all these names. I mean, again, it's a matter of how you want to manage risk. This is a bullish formation, right? Expanding volume, breaking over the highs. Looks bullish to me. However, just the market. Is the market going to continue to rally? That becomes the biggest issue, because this is the problem with the miners, right? If the market is weak, these names are in the funds that are bullish the market, right? So they get sold. Like, it's just natural. And so they might not drop as much. That's your only hope. X talked about it, said these guys had great earnings. They had pre-announced good stuff. What day was it? It was in here somewhere. Nice bounce, said he could rally back up once it got over the 20-day. Probably 20s, 21s. Again, just roll your stops, take your profits. Nucor, great earnings. I mean, they guided up in June. Be aware, I apologize for burping. Look at this spot right here in the 126. It's 128. If you were long the stock, you better know your history. And the spot has stop it. The spot has history. That's all I got to say. Okay. The spot has history. Let's see what happens. If it breaks through it, great. I mean, this could technically on earnings, could it be a professional gap and go? Yeah, it could be. Keep that in mind. Just, again, have a plan. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do if you're wrong? What are you going to do if you're right? What are you going to do if you're kind of wrong and kind of right? Play out all the probabilities in your head. Hit me up if you got a question. CCJ, again, uranium folks, every day I get somebody going, you're crazy for selling these. You know, this is going to be a $300 stock one day. You're probably right, but it probably goes to 18 first, maybe 16. In a bear market, this is not immune. Let me show you so you don't, people love to like talk junk. Whee! I think uranium prices were going higher. Whee! Again, this is not, it's a trading vehicle. Yes, a bull market is developing, clearly. But when will it release? After the bear market is over. After the bear market is over, right? Here, after 2008. Consolidation. Now, I agree, it probably is a $300 stock. It's not going to go there tomorrow, and it's not going there next week. I can guarantee that. Guarantee, boy. Woohoo. VALE. Someone bought this today. Silver Sleuth. You, my friend, have put yourself in a position where it's very simple. It works or it's not. But it's like, man, these stocks are just acting like crap. But crap can float. That's all I can say. Again, I wouldn't buy a call on it or a single share because I just don't really care. But whatever, we'll see what happens. Again, I mean, I hope it goes up, but I'm just not really, I don't have a lot of faith in these names. I think they're going to get choppy and sloppy, but we'll see what happens. I mean, again, we shall see. Arrow, copper at the 20-day, looks all right. Mosaic, I mean, again, these are some names that should be balling out. Better. It's under the 20-day. I mean, we got stopped out here, and then it made another low, and agriculture should be rallying. Remember, the sanctions against Russian agriculture were lifted because it's stupid. They need their food. They clearly have too much of it, which is hilarious. Same thing. I mean, we talked about the stock. You got some signals here of stopping power with major volume. So I would not be surprised if this one rallies better than Mosaic. Let's get into tech. Here's the thing. We've been murdering this. Told you to get in here in the 70s. If you're wondering why, let's zoom out. You can see it's a support zone. We shorted it higher. We rode it down. People bought it. We got the SMH. Cleared out the SMH today. Everyone's going, oh, it's breaking the trend. Your old trend, it's going. Yep, maybe. CHIPS Act. Remember, buy the rumor, sell the news. This is what I keep telling people. The news is now pumping the CHIPS Act. Red alert. They don't pump it down here when Nancy Pelosi is buying stock with Schumer and McConnell and the whole fam. No, you're being told to buy it now. Wrong. You need to be looking to sell. We'll see. It could go higher, but that's just how I think of it in a trader's market. This isn't like some bull market crap, but like where it could continue on. No, it's probably going to get shredded later. SMH started taking profits here. Been warning, take more as you get up. Now you're getting into the least amount of potential reward. I hope people see that. You are maxed out somewhere around 235. Soxel, what did we say when we first started this trade? 17 to 18 would be ideal. Maybe it gets to 20. What is the Soxel at right now? I'm guessing it's right under 19, if I had to guess. Remember this ETF, you don't need to chart it. Just look at, it's at 19. You don't even need to follow this chart. Just know where it's at versus the SMH. 20. That's not a bad trade. If you were buying it in the 10s, You're buying in the 12s, somewhere in that range like we were, depending on who you were. Great trade. You just absolutely curb stomped the market. Please do not overstay your welcome. If it goes higher, great. But you just made 50, 40, 30% in the market. Don't give it back. Apple. Bad news and it pops back, right? You can see it right here. Oh, jobs, we're cutting jobs. Right back. The one thing about Apple I noticed today, this morning's AM action, little crappy. Is this a novice gap hanging man? Now that you see it for yourself, that's why I started taking a little bit of short in the market. Hanging man gap on Apple, novice hanging man. Now again, I mean, it could be just one day. It could be like a couple days. I'm not trying to go here and explain to you that the market's about to crash. I think the market is probably due to pull back. That would be a signal, right? Again, don't look at the color, look at the formation. Long wick, tight action at the top. After a night, would we say this is a nice run? 128 up to 156? You betcha. You betcha. Well, you betcha. Yeah, no doubt. No freaking doubt, folks. At this point, now what? Be careful. Be careful. Do not get excited. Meta. I'll talk about IBM here in a second. Said you're in the zone, upper range. Good. Keep in mind, I think Snap had earnings. Did Meta? How's Meta doing? Oh, this is why you take profits. No, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to be funny. No, this is why you do it, because if you didn't take profits in Meta and Snap poops all over your parade, we talked about this. Taking profits. Wow. It's 10 points. You just gave up 10 points. You didn't take any profits. Not good. We'll see what happens where it opens. Now, keep in mind, Meta, Snap. Well, dude, Meta is a totally different ballgame than Snap. Ultimately, you probably. Wow, does it fill the gap? Probably. This is why you take profits, folks, in earnings. You never know. Netflix is up on crappy numbers. You know, you just never know. I always tell people, like, just don't gamble. IBM had great numbers, great guidance. We're gone. Once it broke like this 127, I said, you know, give myself a little space for the AM. Once it's gone, it's gone. I will say, however, it reminds me of something on the monthly that I saw. Oh, maybe it was the weekly. Here we go. Let's do that, because that looks more like the trend right in there, somewhere in there. It looks like this, right? Big volume here. Let me open it up for you. Let me paint the picture potentially. Is it gonna be like this thing where it's just got to get back to the trend, then pop? I mean, right now the yield's 4.5%. I mean, if it gets to 5 and 6%, I know how people think in the market. Like, they're gonna love that dividend. And if the market's stable, the key is stable, and it gets to 120, you got yourself a potential risk reward trade. And then maybe it bounces from here. Maybe I just got shook out before this and ends up being maybe this. This is what the irony of trading. You just don't know until after. You're just trying to find recurring patterns. Like, is this the same thing now? Now it's ready to go. I know Drew's got some of this. Maybe it is. I wish him luck. Again, I always want people to win. If I'm not in the trade, I don't really have a horse. I think the market's probably going to go lower, but we'll see. So there's your IBM update. Big blue. Big old blue. You're my boy, blue. EXPI. Or sorry, Roblox. This thing is tough. I think it's going up here. It's just not got the oomph. And that's what's making me worried a little bit about the market. Could it be in this chop pattern? Because I thought it was going to be this to this to this to run. It didn't break out over 42. It just seemed like it couldn't get going today. Maybe it just needed tomorrow. Maybe it needed me to give up my position today. Maybe that's all it just needed. Maybe it just needed to get over this. We'll see. If you have it, congrats. Again, just roll up your stops, please. Just don't be an all or nothing trader at this point. Because again, if you've been buying this when it was recommended, say if you bought it down here, down here, down here, I mean, you got big gains. Don't give them up. Oh, you should always let your winners run. I agree. But keep in mind, if the market says you are due to pull back, trade around a core position. I say that every day. Tesla, how ironic. They come out with like that leverage ETF to short it, and it just goes wee higher. Unreal. Well, people are like, well, should I short it? And it's like, the thing about Tesla is, like, you got a novice gap here, right? Or is it this novice gap? I don't know. Either way, watch it. I mean, I think now you can start thinking about where it might peak out at. That's about all I got. I don't really have a level. I don't have a number. I mean, I kind of have a gut instinct about this stuff, and it's, again, it's not always right, but it's probably somewhere up here, right? Like that gap touching or feeling like this is a high volume candle. It's gonna get tested probably at some point, which you're not that far off. Yes, 875. I mean, this stock it's retail's like favorite stock to buy the dips, and then it goes nowhere forever, and then what? It'll probably, you're about to remove data. Oh, I don't want to do that. You're probably gonna be trading this forever, and it will eventually not become the stock you want to trade. That's all I have to say. That is all I have to say. Yes, some folks are like, thank God I got out of Meta. Yes, thank God you did too. EXPI. I mean, again, if fundamentals matter, the stock would be higher. I mean, we talked about you could buy it down here. Congrats, it's up nicely. UTHR, nobody listens when you tell them to take profits, they don't listen. Talked about you could get in here. Talked about the double bottom retest. Keep in mind, VPA right here, volume price analysis. Boom. It just took its time. Then this is the blow off. You got a back test. Then you get close. Look at this to the monthly trend line channel. I mean, close enough for government work, right? And now people are like, well, when should I take profits? We said you have to take profits up here. Please take profit. Begged you. And now it backs off. And what do? I don't know. That's all I got to say. Let's end it on oil as we always do. What now? Here you go. We talked about the 20-day. Man, this chart need to zoom in. Zoom. Talked about the 20-day, and you have like this trend line here. Nice. Again, now I'm putting the red alert out there. I think any pop, you short oil. And when I say pop, try to get as close to 79 as possible, maybe even 80. XOP clearly did not. I mean, as the market rallied, it did not like the action. Look what happened. He back tested the trend line. Now what? Let me write all these down again for myself. 79, 80, XOP 127 plus. These are all now shorts, in my opinion, with tight stops. ExxonMobil will end it here. I've said this many times. This thing could go into a choppy house of pain. I think at this point, probably don't trade it. I mean, it could get back to the 70s, but I mean, 10 points. I mean, you can make 10 points on the XOP in a day. I'd rather you short that than and play, maybe trade around Gush and Drip than to play on ExxonMobil. All right, hope this helps. If you got any questions about the markets, you know where to find me. I'm always trying to help out. I think ultimately in the end, you guys know we're playing probabilities. I can be selling the market and short the market still wrong, and you can be long. That's not a question. That's just me. And again, you hit enter, you hit exit. I am not responsible for any of your trades. I am typically early. Why? Because when I start measuring risk reward, what do? I measure it. And I think right now, shorting, taking a stab into the close like we did, 3 days up. I mean, essentially just erase this day. I mean, here's your professional gap, 4 days. I think it's due. We'll see what happens. I mean, some earnings after hours. I don't think it's going that well. Look at the SPY real quick, 10-minute. Yeah, hello. Whoa, got up to, yeah, pulling back. Yeah, earnings. We'll see. Anyway, hope this helps. If you got any real estate questions, again, please, let me end this with, if you were making money and you've made a ton of money off of our advice, you're trading better, treat this like a business. It's time to buy some precious metals, probably time to invest in some hard assets. If you want to get into real estate and you want to buy investment property and you have the down payment or you're just curious like how it all works, hit me up. You can find me, danmaxrealty.com. Hit me up on the Discord room. Again, this is what I do. I'm closing on a property in September. When you make money like we did in the first quarter, I buy a property. I'm hoping now with the gains from July, my quarter's already been made. The goal is to, once this one closes, buy another one. Talked about maybe buying a mountain property. That would be the goal. We'll see. Anyway, think about it. Again, in inflationary times, in the 80s, housing prices doubled. People are saying there's a housing crash coming. Well, guess what? You can't have a crash without a bubble. There's not a house, like the price of housing may have rose a lot as a bubble, but there's no supply. That's the problem. There's a housing shortage. You used to build 20, 22 million houses a year. We build 5 and 6 now. There's shortages, okay? Yeah, I know the demographics might change, but great. If you buy good real estate and good investment properties in good areas, rents go up always in a recession. And then after the recession is over, house prices go higher. So then you get both rents and house prices going higher. Win, 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 win. Talk to you guys and gals later. Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.